Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 10th anniversary, and it's from one of my favorite bands. And this album, I kind of has a lot of divided feedback about it. But and as you can see, the title today we're going to be talking about Relentless, Reckless Forever by Children of Bodom, the band's seventh album released on March 8th, 2011 through Spine Farm Records. Now, this, of course, follows up their previous album, which came out in 2008, Blood Drunk, which I thought was a pretty interesting album. And I feel like, even going to, back to, Are You Dead Yet and Blood Drunk, I feel like that was pretty much where Children of Bodom kind of, broke out in, the mainstream a bit. And this album, after Blood Drunk, which really a lot of people praised, they wanted to follow up with this. And this album, a lot of people now, if you're like a diehard Children of Bodom fan and you'll love everything you'll do and they done and defend what they had done from Something Wild up to their final album, Hext, you'll like it. But this album, I feel like it's a good album, but I feel like they're kind of lacking a little bit. It's hard to explain it really, but let's just I don't know. It has some stuff that Children of Bodom style has, but overall I feel like there's some stuff that kind of sounds a little bit forgettable. Just let's just talk about the production. Production is great as always, vocally, and the guitar work is great from Alexi Relegio. May he rest in peace, who passed away a few months ago. Him's guitar playing is great. Same thing with, and just the leads he does is great. Same thing with Rup Lovata. It's a Rope's guitar playing. He just holds up some really great riffs. The bass playing is pretty audible. Well, so far as compared to mostly with the last few albums, Henka's bass really his bass playing just really just stepped up. Drumming wise, Yaska does a great job on the drums and the keyboards from Yane. I feel like I really love how the keyboards create a lot of melody and atmosphere, and I just love how Yanni's keyboard playing goes along with Alexi's soloing. So yeah, let's just dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is "Not My Funeral." Well, this song kind of starts off kind of reminds me of a riff from Fall of the Reaper, which in my opinion is one of their best albums. It has a very strong opening track, believe it or not, with a great chorus, and the solo kind of reminds me of the solo near the end of the song "Hate Me." I feel like the opening is really great. It's really brilliant played, and it has a lot of variety. It's interesting from first to last, never dull, nothing repeated. It pretty much summarizes what sets this band apart from many others. And their albums are kind of a little bit short, but they always contain 9 songs, like this album right here. But they just really just pack in what musical ideas they have into one song. They move on to a Shovel Knockout. Now this song has a lot going on. Begins with a great bass line and some really great many musical ideas. A lot of great energy, and the first half is not effective as the second half. The first part is just very fast and shouty. It's not really catchy, but then the keyboards and the chorus kicks in. It just becomes a great highlight. I feel like this is Children of Bodom at their best, and an excellent solo and a great unison lines at the end. It's some really great technical musicianship. Next song on here is Round Trip to Hell and Back. Now this, in my opinion, is the best song on the album, and it's a masterpiece from the first note to the last. Not only is one of the best songs from here, but one of the best metal songs. Is comparable to anything. It would also kind of remind me of the song Every Time I Die from Fall of the Reaper. It has kind of a similar pace and structure to it, and it really just elevates the track to the pantheon of other Bodom tracks is the keyboards, and the solo at the end is really great, and it fits perfectly what has gone before. And Alexi just deserves really just a lot of the praise that he gets. Then we move on to a Pussyfoot Miss Suicide. Now, this is a very forgettable track and is one of the weakest on the album. I mean, there is some excellent musicianship, of course, but it's just a straightforward, just thrash fest. Some impressive soloing from Alexi and Yane, but I feel like it just really lacks the melody and it never really just holds my interest. And this song has plenty of speed, but just very little invention. I feel like this is kind of a leftover song, but yeah. Then we move on to the title track of the album, Relentless, Reckless Forever. Now, this starts off with a 3 simple, ear-shattering blasts of just pure metal, but then it gets very complex very soon. Some really great melodies, some good keyboards, and very great music. Is that gonna... It's a pretty solid song. Next song is Ugly. Ugly, which I really love, like Alexei's solo, which is brilliantly written, some really tasteful, and it pretty much fits the song perfectly. Like, it's a very strong track. It has like the same like Bodom structure of riff, like chorus, solo, riff, chorus, guitar solo, keyboard solo, yada yada yada. It's one of the fastest songs on this album, and the riff kind of reminds me of something from Are You Dead Yet? Pretty good song. Then we move on to Cry of the Nihilist. This such as kind of like a nod to like the classically kind of like inspired solos from like Follow the Reaper or Hey Crew Death Roll, and the music here kind of like, as opposed to like the song Pussyfoot and the Suicide, is thoughtful and melodic. It has a very good complex riff and a really good use of keyboards and some weird kind of like odd vocal effects, but there isn't too much distraction thing from it. But yeah. Then we move on to Was It Worth It, which this song is I like this song pretty much. It has a great riff and a wonderful chorus, and the guitar solo in here is really unusual, but overall it's pretty interesting. Then everything closes with North Pole Throwdown, which is the fastest and shortest song on the album. And it's pretty interesting that they put this song last. And this song, I'm not really too keen on, to be honest. I don't know what they were doing here, but it's just, it just feels like it just doesn't do well for me. But yeah. Overall, Relentless, Reckless Forever is a interesting album. I feel like they could have done some more stuff to it. But yeah, if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of Children of Bodom's Relentless, Reckless Forever, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always,